to Nintendo Dads episode 420 on March 30th, 2023. On tonight's episode, we roll a doobie, smoke a fat blunt, and pass it around.
No,
Oh,
Justin,
wait.
What?
That's a different show. That's something else entirely.
Well, okay. Well, then on tonight's episode, we talk about Tears of Kingdom, the game, Tears of Kingdom, the OLED Switch, Tears of Kingdom, the Nintendo's accessories, Tears of Kingdom, the Direct. Oh, yeah. And E3. Jesse, you know what to do.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Nintendo Dads. As the Justin said, I was going to say the little bit on. Never mind. I'll just keep going. As Justin said, it's episode 420. Nothing special here. Nothing to see here. Moving along. Anyways, it's March 30th, 2023. Justin, how are you doing, sir? You've been away for a bit.
Well, first and foremost, I want to say thank you so much to supporting my contractual agreement in 2023 that I do not attend on any shows together with Marty Estes. We brought that to HR, and I appreciate that they are still abiding by that. After the incident that happened in the break room, I think this is the best case. Yeah, it's going all right. It's great to be back. I'm having a hell of a day. We talked a little bit about it before pre-show. It's been just a chaos go day. And then just before we started the show, I was like, I bragged to the guys. I was like, yeah, I have 3 monitors right now. Everything's working. And then everything has now frozen. And it's not working.
Oh, man.
And so the dock is gone. And now it appears that everything is pushing down to one screen, which is why I'm also looking down, because now it's not up. Let me tell it's been it's been a journey today, guys. The struggle is real. I'm just not in a good place, but I'm excited to be here.
As long as we don't see you smashing a keyboard up against anything or throwing stuff around.
Yeah, I may have to drop and restart the call in a couple of moments to see if I can fix this problem. But why don't we send it over to the guy who never seems to have a problem and always is a technology expert. Of course, I'm talking about the one, the only, the sexiest man alive, the 8-year employee of the year for Nintendo Dads, the man with the thickest beard in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jesse Womack.
Greetings. Yeah, I don't know about half of those bullets, but okay. Oh, and then he fell off. Okay.
He said he was rebooting.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be that fast.
Reboot the show. No.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Jesse.
It's been a week, and I'm glad it's almost over. And we still have to finish up the cleaning in our utility room over the weekend, because we have one of those 30 cubic yard dumpsters that we need to have them pick up again. So we need to finish filling it. Not looking forward to that, but once that's done, then I think things will be a little bit nicer.
Yeah, I understand. We got to prepare for garage sale that we're gonna have in the beginning of June. So we're gonna start cleaning out, going through some of the stuff that we held on to last year and then didn't put in the garage sale. But hopefully this time we'll get it going. So, but I understand. So, but yeah, for me also too, it's been a busy week because I took today and tomorrow off, Thursday, Friday. So lots to get done in the 3 days. I think I fit 40 hours within 3 days, probably, but
Wow.
40 hours worth of work, maybe not so much, but it felt like it at least, so maybe like, what is that? 12 hours for 3 days. So 36 hours. That's close. But yeah, it's been busy, but made up for it by meeting up with Dave Ernsberger, who was on last week. I met up with him for breakfast this morning, and because he was in town. He was in Detroit. He mentioned in the show last week that he was going to be in town. So we actually met up, had breakfast. It was a blast to meet him face to face, in person, live, just wasn't in New York like with you guys, but hey, Detroit, next best thing. So, right. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. So, but speaking of Patreons, let's move on to the news. As we always say, today's show is brought to you by Manscaped and Kanzuri, but we'll talk about that later. The news is brought to you by our Patreons. at patreon.com/NintendoDads, where you too can be a Patreon and help support the show, especially the news. Like I said, I met with Dave. He's an executive or a Patreon producer, excuse me. And that's why he got to be on the show last week. And if you're paying at that tier, the Patreon producer tier, you get to be on the show too. But then we have all kinds of tiers, starting at that Patreon level at $30 all the way down to the $1 level. So, and that all gets you into our Discord to be able to participate in a lot of the stuff we do, but all in turn gets, that funding helps us do the things that we like to do with prizes, which we got a suggestion today to see if we can get any more of those Zelda accessories to give away. So we'll see what we can do. Those things are hard to come by. We might be able to get a case, it looks like. I think I saw those still up for pre-order, but I don't know about all the other stuff.
Do you stack those cases in tiers?
Yeah. Yes, which you could do.
Is it that type of Tears of the Kingdom?
Yes. We'll go into that in a minute. That's part of the news, actually. It's Tears of the Kingdom. Funny you should mention that.
Amazing.
Nintendo releases.
It's called a segue.
Nintendo releases a 10-minute video showing the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom gameplay. So Anuma-san announces the game has gone gold. Jeez, that was a tongue twister. New land masses floating in the sky called Sky Islands. New ability called Recall can be used to rewind the path an object has taken. Weapons will continue to break. What do you think so far, Jesse? What do you think of these things? These are all things we knew about, right? I mean, we didn't know about this.
We didn't know the details,
islands,
but we knew something about them. They were shown at some point in a previous trailer.
Right. We saw them.
They just didn't have anyone explaining it to us yet.
Yeah. Now we got Anuma-san explaining it to us. So
Anuma-san.
Ayo.
Yes.
Ayo Numa. Ayo Numa-san. There we go. Thank you for saying it. That helps click my brain there. All right. Along with that, we also got the new ability Fuse shown to us, which lets us connect two objects together. So we were shown that the weapons still break, so that didn't go away. That answers a question, because that was a question a lot of people had. Are we can still have that system in place? We do.
And I think they specifically showed that, this stick breaks after 4 hits.
Yeah. So, but they also
to answer
showed
that question.
They also showed the fuse option where they had the stick and fused it with a stone, because that stick was about to break after a couple hits, but they fused it with a stone and it gave it new life, essentially. And it made it a new weapon as well. So, and it was able to do more damage.
I will call my fuse stick Mjolnir.
Yes.
Until it breaks.
JDP Cart 18 asks, the new fuse mechanic in Tears of the Kingdom seems to be limitless in its possibilities. What's a combination that you can think of that you'd like to see in the upcoming game?
I wonder if you can fuse an enemy with objects.
I'm kind of scared. Like, do they have to be alive or dead before you can fuse them?
You fuse a bokoblin with a rock and then just see what happens.
I don't know. It must be. I think it's probably inanimate option.
Probably
that you can fuse. So, but it will be interesting to see all of those things. I mean, you can fuse monster parts, so you got to kill them first to get their parts. Then you can fuse them. And if I keep saying can fuse them too fast, everybody's going to be confused.
Yes. I don't know what you're talking about.
Can fuse? Confused? Are we confused yet? Yes, I'm confused now. There's 2 Jessies on the show now. Justin's having a week. He's trying to get his computer going. What's up, Justin? You all right there?
Computer die.
Don't look so angry, sir.
Man, I gotta, seriously, if anything could go worse today, yeah. Okay, so let's talk Breath of the Wild, shall we? What are we talking about here?
We were talking about some of the things that we've already been shown, but we're given names to, like the floating islands are now called Sky Islands. We talked about the recall ability, which we've seen, before, but it's called recall. But then we also were just talking about the fuse ability, being the new feature where we saw that Aonuma-san did confirm that the weapons still break, but then you can still fuse the weapon with something else and give it new life. So we were talking about that feature and also answering the question that JDP Cart gave us that asks, what combinations can you think of that you'd like to, do in the upcoming game? So what you got, Justin? What did you think when you saw that?
Yeah, I mean, so I did a reacts on our YouTube channel to it, and
it blew your mind. I knew that.
Yeah, I think holistic. And here's the challenge: is I really don't know what I can actually think confused together, because my mind is kind of all over the place. But I think what I really took away from this session is, originally Breath of the Wild was such a toy box to start off with. Right. And they just really like taken the rails off that thing. I am just so excited to see what they end up building. Like this game, when it's out for 6 weeks, and you're gonna start seeing like TikToks about like, look, I built this and that, and
right.
Wow, look, now I've built I built the Millennium Falcon out of wood in Breath of the Wild, and it works. And
we didn't quite get that far in our discussion. We just got to the fuse part.
Well, I'm telling you where the conversation is going to go, Jesse. All right, so quit being interrupting Cow. All right, and this is what we're going to do. Moo. So I think it's pretty crazy. It feels like what they did was they looked at, I think Breath of the Wild. When we all played it, we're like, oh wow, we can do these things. But years later, you're like, hey, if you put this minecart with this thing, and I launch it and use this special ability. Like all these, I almost want to use the word like trick shots, right?
Oh, yeah,
that you kind of saw created within Breath of the Wild.
That's what I thought of too, was those same things. Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like they looked at that and was like, oh, that's what people want to do. Okay, then let's do that in a different way.
Right.
And so I think that was, that just like my reaction was like, I don't even know how to like put these things together. Right. One of the questions I thought of afterwards is, can you double fuse items? So he used the example of, I don't know if it was fuse, but it was the example of the arrow with the eye becomes a honing missile.
Yes.
Right? Could you go arrow, eye, and one of the freezing jellies?
Right.
A third item. A frozen homing
right.
arrow. How many layers can you put on top of it to make
when he built the raft? That was a sequence of 4 fuses, so maybe.
Yeah, and I wonder if the fusing is the same thing as kind of the thing that I was talking about with the arrow, or is that different?
No,
that's fusing.
Yep,
that was part of fusing.
Yeah, so
Ultra Hand though was you pick up objects similar to magnesis, and then you can use to build machines.
Also, such a great call out that Ultra, the Nintendo tip of the nod of what the Ultra Hand is.
Yes.
Right, yep. like really clever on that one.
Very cute.
Yeah. So I am interested in. And by the way, I'm joining back into our regular call here in a second. I'm getting off my phone because my computer's finally updating. But I am interested to see how many layers you can put onto that, because I think the fusing of weapons versus the fusing of, I'm gonna use the word vehicles, feels like something different. Yes. Right, because you're right. You did see him kind of Lego brick that raft together.
Right.
I wonder if there's no limit to that. And I would maybe argue that there is no limit, because when he made that statement of, he's like, do you remember how there was that car? Oh, it was made, right? And you're like, okay, so then maybe there isn't a limit. But when you're crafting or doing the crafting with weapons, is there a limit there?
Yeah, that's the question for sure.
I don't know if I could be wrong, but my take on that was Ultra Hand is the ability to move objects around, which can be then used with fuse to build your machines. Ultra Hand might have a built-in fuse that's different from the normal fuse. I don't know.
Yeah. It makes sense. So I think where you're going with that is definitely makes sense. Where the Ultra Hand moving objects that you're not already holding, that's where you can use multiple objects to put together because you're not holding that one item. Whereas a weapon, you're holding the item and then fusing another item to that. So is there a limitation because you're holding it and not necessarily building on, say, the ground or on a workbench or something,
Yeah.
So that does make sense though, for sure. So, but new questions, right? Looking forward to get answered for sure. So
yeah, I think that's one of the things that I thought they did. So and I know I'm jumping all over the place here, folks. All right.
Go for it.
But I think like some of the rhetoric or commentary I heard on online afterwards was like, it just kind of looks like Breath of the Wild. Yeah. That's kind of what it's
built on the same engine,
like, right? like
they might have tweaked it a bit.
And then I kind of heard this, like people were like, well, it's kind of disappointing because I've been to that mountain before. I've been to, right. I think that the thing with Breath of the Wild was when it was revealed, our moment of like, wow, was, do you see that mountain? You can go there. Mm-hmm. You can go to the very top. Like that was the wow. That was the discoverability of it. That was the moment, right, that everybody had. That was incredible. Tears of the Kingdom has reversed that idea of like, yeah, the places you can go, but do you know what you can do in those places now? Right. And that's the difference. It's the tools within that place that now dynamically change. I think that those are the ahas and those are the wow moments. And then I agree, like, here's the interesting part as well. Like, so yes, we have the floating islands. And here's the thing that I kind of am frustrated about in their reveal is floating islands.
Sky
Islands. Great. Cool. Awesome. I love it. Why? What value do they add? Right. Other than literally depth and height, but also like, so if Breath of the Wild was horizontal, are we now getting the verticality? Right. I mean, not only up, but are we now like, by the way, there's also caves now that you go underground. Like, are we building different layering to it? Like the other part of it is like, how did it get there? We have no story.
We have no idea behind that
at all.
No, we don't.
Right. Like,
but we do have the other thing real quick, which you were hitting on earlier and what you were just saying about people saying, well, I already know about that mountain. I already know about this destination. Yeah. But what he kept saying in his video is we can see what's changed over time.
Yeah.
So yeah, you might have been to that mountain, but now there's a cave in that mountain, or there's something about that mountain that's changed that you need to go discover.
Well, and obviously something has occurred. Something has happened. Like Link is different.
Yes.
Right? Link is visibly different.
Yeah. Right? His arm and his hair and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Than where we originally left him. So something has occurred. That to me is the interest part. That's the rub. Like
between how he looks and then the floating islands and the videos where we see the castle, something happening to the castle breaking from the ground. I'm sure we're all going to get blown away by when we find out what that is.
I have a feeling that's going to be relatively soon. Like maybe even the opening cinematic, which is why we have no story information yet.
Yes.
Because it's going to, I'm expected to be blown away, which is not a position I like to be in because I like to have low expectations, and they're not doing that to me right now. This is so I'm worried about that. And I'm worried about,
you're worried about getting disappointed about something that you had in mind and not coming true.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they're not talking about it. And normally I'm probably the last person who will put higher expectations on something, and it happened. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen.
Well, how can you help it though? It was Game of the Year in 2017. You expect it to be on par with that, if not better. Yeah.
So the story of the original,
you hope at least,
wasn't much of a story, and that's fine.
Yes,
that's not what it was trying to do, but. Yeah, so that's why I think this is probably going to do something and early, and which is why we don't know anything about it. But the other thing I'm worried about is, as I said before on the show, I don't feel like I have a great imagination. I'm logical, but not imaginative. So is that going to hurt me when it comes to these building of objects or not? To do certain tasks that requires something to be built to perform the task.
Yeah, like I mean, I mean, I don't think there was. I never felt like I doubt there's going to be this like you need to be able to build this like highly complex, Rube Goldberg machine to be able to solve said event. I'm sure that the approachability of the game will be you can do it in any way you want, right? And so that's kind of the nice part of it, is that there is no one solution to be able to do that thing. And so I think that if that ethos stands true, then I think it will be very interesting. I'm fascinated by it. They didn't have to sell me on it. I also wonder, like, how early on are we getting these special abilities? Because like as you're looking at the hub screen of the video, like he's kind of sitting at 4 hearts pretty much the entire time, right? So is what he was showing us, was that the equivalent of kind of like the Great Plateau? And then you get all of that, and then you're off to the world? Like, because then you've got your toolbox. Yes. Right? I've given you all the tools, go play.
The Great Plateau. You get all your tools and then you go, for sure.
Yeah.
I get it.
So it'll be interesting. I'm like cannot get here quick enough. I'm so excited.
Me too. We got a couple comments in the chat about this too. It's like in regards to the graphics, like, oh, it looks the same or whatever like that. Mikey Dreamer says, is part of it the fact that Breath of the Wild started as a Wii U game and some are wanting to make a bigger jump for Tears of the Kingdom since it's a pure Switch game? Well, I think it does make a jump, just not as much as people. I mean, I don't know if people are expecting like PS4 like jump. It's still going to be on the Switch. It's still got to be able to run there. But I saw a difference already by seeing how far you could look out in the distance at everything when he was looking out in the distance.
The other thing I would say is you do have to remember, like, what you're seeing through YouTube is a compressed stream.
Yes, that as well.
Right. So yes. like it does not do it well in regards to the compression.
Right.
Nintendo did put out, and like we're lucky enough and fortunate enough to have access to like the media kit. And so there are photos that you can go online and you can grab and you can take a look at them, and like, okay, that is a in-game shot versus a compression through YouTube, and you're like, oh yeah, I wish they would just be a little bit better on those photos they send out.
Right.
That's the reality of it though. But I don't know. The thing that I kind of wonder about, and there's sort of that question, which is a little bit of like, when it was originally designed, it was designed with the Wii U gamepad in mind, the slate, right? Breath of the Wild 2 is not designed with the Wii U gamepad in mind. It was designed with the Nintendo Switch in mind.
Right.
So are there Nintendo Switchisms that are going to be used that we have not traditionally seen?
That's a good point.
Right.
Yes, that's a good point.
I do think the Wii U hindered potentially some of the things it was able to do, for sure. Right. So I don't know. Maybe there's some like activity where it's like, take your Joy-Cons out and wave them upside down. I don't know exactly. Right.
Well, it could go with here. Let me just put this out there. Another comment was by Brody, who said that maybe wait a minute. He said, my main question is, what happened to the divine beasts? We don't see them, and when they look out, at least I didn't catch them or anything like that. You don't see anything done there. So I mentioned, I wondered if this has to do with time.
Yeah.
Is this before?
Well, we don't even know what happened to them after Breath of the Wild. They could have melted after their attack with cannons.
True.
We don't know.
I thought they were still that's true. I thought they were just still going to be like statues or something, if it was past that point. But
Abyssal, great call out here. Abyssal reminds me the Switch Lite does not have Joy-Cons, so it can't be overly, different or crazy. That's a good point. Mecha Dragon in the chat says, can we talk about how the game is going to be $70 despite basically being what's basically DLC according to sources? Here's the thing. According to sources, and DLC is a pretty rough statement there.
Right? My reply to that is, you speak the word sources with the biggest set of air quotes you've ever seen.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't trust whatever those sources are.
You got to think, like, even if you were like, oh, this is a DLC patch, they're fun. Like, fundamentally, the physics within the game have to change, right? So even if you're like, it's just Breath of the Wild, but now I can build sticks, right? And build rafts. By the way, you couldn't do that in the original one. So guess what you're going to need to do? You need to recode every elemental item within your entire
I don't think you had horizontal wind at all in the first game.
And by the way, let's not forget we've just added these floating fucking islands. Pardon my language. Sorry, that was whatever your timestamp is there.
Beep.
Right? So like, paper. Come on, like people like, it irritates me when people are like, oh, it's just DLC. And listen, I'm a person who can argue why something should be just DLC and upgrade, right? We've talked about the Splatoon 3 thing, okay? When you fundamentally look at the physics that are changing within this game at the elemental level, right? That requires so much different coding. So you can't just layer on top of DLC patch. People who believe that do not understand how coding works at all and do not understand how video games make. They're not just made magically a poof and they're there. This game has taken almost 6 years to build and create. They have the foundation. They use the infrastructure, the backbone. Why are we angry when like Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time are sort of the similar? Like, come on now. Let's give ourselves a bit of a head shake here. There are brand new physics, brand new levels. So get off my lawn. All right.
When the game was first announced, we thought it was going to be that fast of a turnaround. We didn't know that they were going to go so big with the physics.
They probably didn't know either. So, but the other aspect of the $70 is why not? Okay. Yes. Why did they do it? We've been there, we've done that, but why not? The industry in other areas, as we mentioned before, charges various prices in other regions, not in the US. It's always been around $60. Yeah. You know, yes, the new system PS5 and Xbox Series is charging $70. Switch is not a new system, but the Nintendo game, this is a Nintendo game built by Nintendo, not anybody else, that is well worth, I believe. And yes, I may be a fanboy speaking here, but I believe I would have paid $80 for this game.
Here's the thing that super irritates me with this conversation. Tim, how many hours did you spend in Breath of the Wild? Just ballpark.
5 years.
5 years. Give me a ballpark of hours.
I think it was 300 something hours.
300 hours. You paid a $60 game. You paid 20 cents an hour. It might have been less. 20 cents an hour for a sandbox game that you had pure joy and entertainment out of. How much money does it take you to take the kids to see Super Mario movie here in a week from now? It's going to cost you $75. It's going to cost all 5 of you, and you get 90 minutes of joy. All right? So shut up about the prices. It's $10. Nintendo has said, listen, not every game is going to be that way. It's a premium title. Get off my lawn. All right?
Inflation too has to hit somewhere else too. It's not going to just stay. Not going to just stay there.
Oh, Crimea River, it costs more. I understand it costs more, and I feel bad for you, but guess what? That's how the world works, and they haven't said it's for every single title. Breath of the Wild was an amazing game. We've all sunk hundreds and hundreds of hours into it. You're going to whine about a $10 because, Nintendo's squeezing a shut up. All right? You're going to pay the $10, and you're going to like it.
Justin, calm down. Calm down. It's okay. Oh. I can't. This is the thing I get frustrated with, too. Maybe I cannot find my hours anymore. I can't find my hours anymore unless I start up the game again. That sucks.
Tim said maybe he needs an edible after all.
Yeah, go get an edible.
Mecha Dragons in the chat. He said, "I'm sorry, Justin." You know what, Mecha? I haven't been on here for a bit, and I had a bit of a day. So if you want to come at me, it's going to be a real cranky day. I'm going to tell you. And also, too,
Mecha, don't take it personal.
Yeah.
Yes, you asked the question, but you aren't the only person who's been mentioning the $70 price point.
Correct.
Negatively.
Chris HL asks about the story and the main villain.
Yes.
I'm not going to let us be on track on the show at all today. So
yes, but let me just say this too.
That's a different Zelda game.
Going back to the $70 real quick, is that the crap, I can't remember what I was going to say now. Dang it. Okay.
Wow.
Bad guy, whatever. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I have no idea. They could pull Satan out of the ground and call that the villain, and I would be happy with it at this point. I don't know. I think they're going to do something weird just because
the villain's always been Gandalf, not Gandalf. Ganondorf. But if it was
Yeah,
Gandalf from Lord of the
or
Rings,
You
that
shall
would be a
not
very different story.
pass.
there's that or Vati or some combination of the
Yeah.
two. It does depend on the game. The Vati is basically the villain before Ocarina of Time in the timeline.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah, I don't know enough about. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know enough about like the canon and the lore to think of. Oh, it could be this villain from this timeline that's come through the multiverse when Zelda opened up the timeline and the spirit tracks came through and then there was a flood of the world. I don't know that much. All I know is he's a bad guy.
maybe it'll be Toad. I mean, or
could
Wart,
the game they
Wart.
brought out a couple of years ago be a clue?
Which game's that?
Skyward Sword.
Skyward Sword.
Everybody was saying there's got to be a clue because they brought this
Return of Demise in some way.
They brought this game out HD, and we got the Sky Islands.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's still some I think there's gonna be some Easter eggs or connective tissue for sure to that, right? Like I do expect, like you're gonna see a game explain of like, here's the 5 Easter eggs that you found on the floating island that indicates a blah 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 blah. God bless you, Aunt Andre, I love you, but like that's what we're gonna see, right? And they're like, this pot is the same as this pot, so this happened in the alternate timeline. Cool. Like I suspect we're gonna see those things, right? There's gonna be.
I can't wait to find out all this stuff. This is
Breath of the
awesome.
Wild has already kind of thrown the timeline over its head because it has elements.
I don't think
of all
Nintendo
three.
gives a damn about the timeline.
They don't.
They're like, they just made it up to shut people up.
Yeah, not when you got 21 games in a franchise. You're kind of done with
the speculation is that Breath of the Wild happened so many years in the future that we're going to get new games in between the last game from the timeline all the way up to Breath of the Wild. Now we got a new batch of games we're going to get in between.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Like I like, here's the deal. I'm over the moon excited. I cannot wait for this. I'm going back to Breath of the Wild in April to finish it off, to get ready, to remind myself of the systems of how things work. And I'm excited to be in there. And I'm going to pay the money for it, and I'm going to be happy. And guess what? That's all that matters. I don't care if you pick it up, you don't pick it up. Shut up and be happy.
And there's going to be millions and millions of other people who complained, but will still be buying it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like,
speaking of being happy about paying money.
Oh, good segue, Jesse. Good segue.
Nintendo announced Tears of the Kingdom themed hardware. So we have Switch OLED coming April 28th for $359.99 USD or $469.99 CAD.
Remember, we saw this rumor earlier and everyone's like, I don't think they're going to do it. Remember how I said Nintendo needs to sell hardware. They need to do that. And their hardware sales are still, projections are really super high. Ta-da. This is why. How many of you emptied out your bank account on pre-order day?
Initially, people were skeptical of that leak. But when the art leaked, correct, and that symbol matched up with the previous leak, everybody was like, aha, we are most likely going to get that.
And P.S., whose business Justin tweet said, I suspect we're also going to see a Pro controller. This guy. Justin is right, because they want to make the money, because they can with this franchise. Yes. Also, P.S., I'm going to put the business hat on for a reason. That's also why they're charging you $10 more, because they can and they know you're going to buy it.
Yeah.
Right.
So the game, the system, and the Pro Controller each $10 more than the normal counterparts. So,
speaking of which Pro Controller May 12th is $74.99 USD or $99.99 Canadian. And the Switch carrying case May 12th is $24.99, which sounds about right, actually. Or maybe it's $5 more.
Yeah, I don't know what normal
is. Or $32.99 Canadian. So, but yeah. There's going to be, and I think we saw Philip from Hand Drawn Games on Twitter. He mentioned this because when he was on the show, he said that this is going to Tears of the Kingdom Day is going to be a $500, $1,000 day for people because of all of this stuff. Which he's right.
This is Nintendo's, and I think the way we're seeing it probably. This is Nintendo's last like big financial push, marketing, monetization. right? Like this is this. They know that there are few opportunities they have. Again, you have to remember when they launched Breath of the Wild on the Switch and the Wii U, they did not know if they would have a success. You have cultivated a device, which is incredible. You have one of the best-selling games historically, Game of the Year award, Breath of the Wild, follow-up sequel to it. Yeah, you're gonna make bank on this, so you may as well cash in hard. I am not in for the Switch OLED because I bought my one when it came out. I'm not getting a new one.
Same.
I'm not doing that. I ain't doing that. I know someone on this podcast was crazy enough to get a new Switch. Mr. Estes.
Did he get it?
He did. He got it. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right.
I got the Pro controller, and my fingers are crossed. My fingers are crossed for the Amiibo.
I have an Amiibo and a controller both coming.
Can't pre-book those ones where I'm getting them from.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Thanks to Ebicel, I was able to get a controller. So
I'm in for a $200 day.
Yep. And I'm happy that I got at least something out of it because I was not able to get the special edition game. I was pissed at that. So
I asked again, by the way, for you today, when I was.
I appreciate it. Yesterday. Thank you, sir.
Asking for you.
But at least I was able to get a Pro controller, so I'm happy. At least I got something out of it. So
that Pro controller is fire.
It is very nice,
as
but
the kids would say.
Don't read the comments in our Discord. There's a lot of people who are kind of nitpicking at that too. So, but everybody is entitled to their opinion, obviously.
Not in our Discord, they're not. They're entitled to my opinion. That's it.
They were kind of bumming out about the white and the black handles. They were like, they could have done better with the handles, they said. So
you could have done better with the handles.
So you got people who are really happy with it, and then there's other people who are on the opposite spectrum. But anyways, there's a lot of stuff that can be bought. But let me go back to something you mentioned, Justin. You were mentioning that this is most likely the end of the Switch's life cycle. This is why they're going all out on this stuff. They got to make bank and all that kind of stuff. Is this really a sign that the Switch is coming to an end?
Well, I mean, they released a Kirby game, and Kirby is the Grim Reaper of Switch consoles.
They've released several Kirby games.
The Switch has had like 4 Kirby games.
I know this year, so it's the death of it. I mean, I don't think so, but I do think in with a bang, out with a bang. Right. And I would argue that Breath of the Wild was in with a bang and out with a bang as Tears of the Kingdom. Again, I think, Jesse, you called it one of the last podcasts that we were on. It is now the longest life cycle of a Nintendo product. We know the new one is in the pipeline somewhere. There's no shock about it. And a little bit of kind of and we continue to have this conversation. I mean, this is the tentpole. This is, and everyone's like, is this the last big game for Nintendo? If you look at it, this will be the last big Nintendo release of 2023. And when I say big, like top of the mountain, you get a Pro controller, you get a special limited edition game, you get a special OLED. You're all in on it.
Yeah, Pikmin is not going to outsell this. I know this.
We do not expect a special Nintendo Switch OLED for Pikmin because, by the way, that audience is ravenous for it, right? Like that's not going to happen. Metroid Prime.
I'm hoping a Metroid Prime 4 OLED is it coming out.
I love you for thinking that, and that's cute.
Hey, come on! They did a Metroid 3DS.
They could, but remember,
I'll take Joy-Cons. I'll just take Joy-Cons if they do that.
Yeah, here's what I'm going to say. Look at where they have put their special Switch designs. They put them on the franchises that financially have had the most success for them. Every Pokemon game. Breath of the Wild. What was the other one?
Splatoon.
Animal Crossing. Splatoon. Right? Games that if the game is in their top 5 to top Smash Brothers, top 10, that's probably where special OLED's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they're going to maybe have customized controllers. Now, there are some arguments that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 had a special controller, blah, 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 and Diablo had, so there is some things, but if you look primarily at what they do, it is very top 10 games typically will have something special.
Yeah. Sorry, Nintendo, not pluck.
Yeah, exactly. but I do believe this will be the last big Nintendo, the moment where everyone is having that conversation about that game right there and then, like the way that Elden Ring ate our oxygen last year, right, is what you're going to see for Tears of the Kingdom. I don't think Nintendo has anything else that big in their pocket.
No.
Yes, Mario would be big. I don't think it's even this big based on Mario's big, but I don't know if it would even hit the same way this does.
And with the movie hype, if they had a Mario game coming, we would have known
possibly,
about it by now.
Right? But I do think the back half of the year, there's going to be some great games. Pikmin's going to be in there. I suspect Metroid Prime 4 is going to be in there, right? We're still going to have some great games, but I think this, like I said, in with a bang, out with a bang. I think you'll just start to see it a little bit start to dwindle off. And then we're going to hit that switch too.
Justin, we haven't done this in a while.
Yeah.
I bet you Metroid Prime 4 does not come out this year.
What are you betting?
I bet you it does not come out this year. And
what are we betting for?
Is there something Metroid you want?
I am gonna say game winner's choice game, physical game.
Okay.
So if I win, I get to tell you what game I would like for you to buy for me physically.
Yes.
And not special edition, just physical,
just regular standard edition,
blah blah blah.
Yep.
Is that fair?
That's fair.
I am betting that Metroid Prime 4 is coming out in 2023.
Yes. Okay. All right.
There you go.
All right. Yeah, we haven't done that in a while. So, and another thing, and since we're on this thing, we haven't done in a while,
and it's a pizza bet also. Pizza bet and a game, which means I am then also going to Venmo you or PayPal you or whoever you're going to send me like $25, and I'm going to order pizza
and a game
from my favorite place, and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to play. I got to step away for a second because I got to sign my daughter's tutor document. Be right back.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll save this question for when Justin gets back. So, because I think it's important because he hasn't done this in a while. I think he'll have fun with it. So let me ask this first question though, Jesse. Did anyone get any Zelda Tears of the Kingdom merch? We talked a little bit about it. You said you didn't get the OLED, but you got the Pro Controller and the Amiibo.
Yes. I had the Amiibo pre-ordered months ago.
I actually got the Amiibo pre-ordered probably around the same time you did. And I also got the Pro Controller, thanks to Ebisel, who asked the question. So thanks again, Ebisel, for alerting me about the availability of the Pro Controller. So I was able to get that. Justin said he did not get the OLED, but you did get the Pro Controller?
Yeah, I was able to secure the Pro Controller, yeah.
Anything else of the Tears of the Kingdom stuff did you get? Any of the other stuff?
No. So I got the Pro Controller,
just the Pro Controller?
Standard Edition Tears of the Kingdom. And I'm hoping for the Amiibo, but our GameStop gets like one of them or two of them.
Yeah.
And so there's no guarantee, but I really want that Amiibo. I will say that right now. I will also recognize in the chat, Mecha Dragon asks if he can come back in the chat or if he is still grounded. Mecha, you have been on timeout long enough that you've thought about what you've done, and you can come back in the chat. But I'm going to tell you, you say something again like that, and I'm going to put you on double your timeout. All right, so it could be 20 minutes on the timeout stare in the Nintendo Dads chat.
The timeout stare. Oh man!
So you decide. You decide what you want to do.
I forgot about the timeout stare. Okay. That's funny.
Yeah.
All right. So here's another question from Ebisel. And this is something I waited for you to come back for, Justin.
Sorry, my life is chaos right now.
Justin, you haven't done this in a while.
Yeah.
Ebisel is wondering if we bought enough of these accessories to do some sort of giveaway for the Patreons.
He's thinking.
Yeah, we probably should. Probably should.
Now, how can we get our hands on something like that? I don't know. There's limitations.
We gotta secure some stuff now.
There's some limitations to some of these things, unfortunately. So, Ebisel, you might have to help us keep alerts on, if until I get those turned on and find out what comes available again.
Yeah. If you know what, here's what we will do. We will give away a copy of Tears of the Kingdom, Standard Edition. So we will do a giveaway, because I think that will be easy for us to figure it out. That could be easy.
He specifically called out a giveaway for the patrons.
Oh, for the patrons.
For the patrons.
Okay.
For the patrons.
So
So not a Twitter thing, not anything like that. This is patrons.
Yeah, we'll just do this. We're gonna give away if you're a Patreon subscriber, effective May 1st, you are going to be entered to win a copy of Tears of the Kingdom. We're going to give it away. There you go.
All right.
Does that work?
That sounds good.
Okay.
I need to write these things down. We made a bet and we're also doing a giveaway.
So folks, if you want to be entered into to win an opportunity to get Tears of the Kingdom, all you got to do is be a subscriber in NINDADS, and you head over to that by patreon.com and subscribe. There you go. For a dollar. You're in for $1 and you could win Tears of the Kingdom. No Twitch subs. Listen up, Chris HL. Okay, let's do this. Frickin' Tim, is it anyone who's in our Discord? Okay, we got to include our Twitch subs as well. Twitch sub folks as well. So Patreon, Twitch, however people can get into our.
So everybody in our Discord that has a tier, essentially.
Yeah. So everybody who's in our Discord has a tier. And Patreon. So we'll just make sure that those two lists correlate.
Yeah, that's part of Patreon. Patreon and Twitch both have tiers.
Yeah, so Chris HL, simmer down. All right, you're good.
But there could be someone there could be a patron who never logged into Discord.
That's fine, but their patron. Listen, this definitely feels like behind the show chat. But yeah,
I'm explaining to Tim the difference between.
Right, that's why I'm saying tiers, because it doesn't matter if they're in Discord.
Like
still our Patreon, they got a tier there.
Okay.
And then Twitch, there's tiers. So if they have tiers in anywhere of those things.
So like tiers
or
of the
tiers of the kingdom. Yes. You got it. You got it.
Tiers of the giveaway. So Tim, we're gonna have to have,
I'm crying now.
Art made up, by the way, for this to promote it.
Okay.
So
tiers giveaway for tiers.
I'm having fun making trouble for Justin. Damn right you are.
Tears giveaway for tears. Okay.
Tears
for
tears.
Tears for tears.
New campaign.
Tears for fears. Tears for tears.
Okay. I'm out of the same thing.
And like if we're able to secure like a controller, we may do like a whole giveaway bundle. But securing those things seem to be challenging for us right now. But we will try. Definitely the game. We may add more to that bundle.
All right, cool. Excellent. So that was fun.
Oh my god.
That's so spontaneous.
Was that a journey?
All right. Nintendo has extended the ability to redeem download codes for Wii U and 3DS games until the evening of April 3rd. So if you've got some download codes that you haven't used yet, you got until April 3rd to use them.
Apparently there was some problems with code redemption in the last minutes of the eShop, so they kept it open for another week. So you still have until Monday evening, approximately 11-ish Eastern. I don't know the exact time.
So I repeat, Nintendo has extended the ability to redeem download codes for Wii U and 3DS games until the evening of April 3rd. You've been warned. All right. How's that? That good?
Sure.
That's pretty good.
I'm confused.
Can fuse? Can be fused? Can fused? Never mind. Anyways. E3 2023 timeline. Jesse, I'm leaving this one for you because you were going to go to E3, but go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so I wrote this up as a timeline. September 26, 2022. E3 2023 has been announced for June 13th through 16th. 2023. I didn't write it in, but December, open up registration for media. I sent in a registration. And February 3rd, rumors that Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation would not be in attendance. February 24th, Nintendo confirms that they will not be attending. At this point, I still haven't heard back from my E3 registration. March 28th, so earlier this week, Ubisoft, Sega, and Tencent have announced they will not be attending. March 30th, today, E3 announces that E3 will not be attending E3. And then I get a reply to my media badge saying, oh yeah, we're canceled. So no one's getting a media badge.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And JD P. Cart asks, what Was it ever alive in the first place?
So this is the challenge.
Before 2017, yeah. At that point, things were dying slowly until it died fast.
So one of the interesting things is that E3 this year was taken over by ReedPop. ReedPop is known for doing EGX. It's also known for doing PAX East, PAX West. I believe somebody want to verify chat on that one. I know they're at least done for doing EGX.
They were doing PAX as well.
Yeah,
yes,
they're doing PAX well. So they have the ability in this space as well. And there was a lot of conversations, or there was like a post for the president of like how important E3 was and how they are excited to take it over and kind of revitalize it and make it something new as well. So I don't think it's for naught that E3. I genuinely think the intention was for E3 to try and come back this year. I think that was the intention of whoever was overseeing it, and they understand the value of that IP, that property, that event, right? And how important that is. Something obviously went off the wire, right? Maybe and maybe it's the fact that Summer Game Fest has taken up a lot of space in that corridor in the last little bit, and Jeff Keighley has very strategically been trying to take away from E3 and earn space and kind of be the one place to rule them all. We also have to recognize that, like,
yeah, and then about like 5 minutes after E3's official resignation, he had a tweet out there.
Oh yeah. It's kind of you kind of feel like saying, okay, Jeff, a little bit too soon. Like, let's give it a bit of a breath here. Right?
He went in for the death kill.
He did. Like, he was. I'm sure there's popping, like,
was that coup de grace or whatever?
Wooden stakes and everything.
Yeah. Right. The other part of it as well is that I think there's a lot of factors in play here. So one of them is, like, we have to understand that we are still in an economic recession, or right on the cusp of one. Prices continue to increase on items, as we talked about for Breath of the Wild. Inflation continues to be there, right? You're having high levels of unemployment. So disposable income becomes less likely to be able to do things. The other part of this is that organizations understand that because they were able to pivot during COVID. We talked about this. Rewind the tape 2 to 3 years ago when we were in the middle of COVID. We all talked about, like, this is the death of E3. Companies, for the most part, were able to pivot into digital solutions and doing that really well. That lowers their overhead and lowers the costs associated with an event like E3. You have to remember, when E3 was initially I shouldn't say initially announced, but like 2 or 3 years ago, we heard that like booth space in some situations was $1 million for the floor. That's it, just to put your booth there. That's not your infrastructure bringing in what you need. That's not paying for additional staffing, builds. Like, you're talking spending $2-3 million potentially in a short term. And organizationally, you look at it and say, am I getting my return? Right? Am I getting that back? Like, yes, we're all there, but are we all there because we kind of have to be here? It's like being invited to, like, your kid, like a kid's birthday party, and all the dads are looking around like, I don't really want to be here, but I kind of have to be here, right? Because I can't leave my kid alone, because that's not cool, right? But now then what's happened is, like, one of the dads is like, I'm out. I'm going to the pub. And then another dad's like, well, sugar, if he's going, I can go. Then another dad's like, all right, I'm out. And then all of a sudden the dads leave the party. And then, like, someone comes out with cake, is like, I have cake. Nobody's there to eat the party or eat the cake. Surprise, that's E3, right? Once the dominoes started to go, everyone's like Limited Run, I guess, put out a tweet. They were like, well, we're still at E3, although we might be the only people there. And then E3 canceled. Like, there's so many layers to this about what happened, why it happened. But I do think, like, companies sort of realized, and we've talked about this, why are we all yelling at the exact same volume during the exact same 5 days to be the loudest thing to be heard? When the reality is, I can own my own conversation 6 weeks later when nobody else is in this space, and I can have a conversation. And here's the other part of it, the connection with Jeff Keighley's, like, Game Fest. I don't know what deal Jeff's thrown around. All right. And I don't really know if Jeff is actually, like, because Ubisoft is now part of Summer Game Fest. I don't know if there's a contract signed there, or if Jeff was just like, I'm adding you to our giant Google Calendar and saying you're part of Summer Game Fest. Right. So there's a lot of like kind of push and pull around these things. The reality is, an organization has to understand the value of something. What is the value of E3 to me, the company, Nintendo, Xbox, whatever? A lot of these companies discovered before the value may not be there, but we can be in that space. And now we don't need to be in that space. We can do whatever we want. I think it's sort of disappointing also. Like personally for me, growing up, I always knew E3 was an incredible thing, right? Like that was the mecca. That was the thing you always wanted to go to. And like, I've never been able to go to E3. It's kind of always been on my bucket list. I don't think I'll ever be doing that.
Same.
Right. The reality is it doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
I've been fortunate enough to go to stuff like Gamescom, and that's super incredible. And I'm so happy for that moment. Right. But like E3's gone, most likely. Now, could it be resurrected in a couple of years? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But listen, the world has changed, right? How we consume information, how we gather information, those type of things has dynamically changed. And E3 has to figure out potentially if they come back, how they evolve and dynamically change into something else. And here's the other funny part about it. Last weekend was PAX East in Boston. Let me tell you, that looked like a freaking amazing time.
Oh, yeah.
Right, like, like, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Nintendo Dads wants to do PAX East next year. All right, we think that would be incredible. But
East or West,
East or West. So there are these pockets of ideas that work together, but fundamentally, it's like no, E3 can't. E3 doesn't work that way anymore. So I don't know. Was it ever alive in the first place? E3 is sort of like the Monty Python Holy Grail meme of "I'm not dead yet." Right? Bring out your dead. I'm not dead yet. Aren't you dead yet? Aren't you though? Right? And if you're not, we can make it that way. And that's kind of what just happened.
Yeah.
I would be so interested in a Jason Schreier, the death of E3, behind the scenes curtain autopsy about what the hell happened. Because a year ago, like to your point, less than 6 months ago, they announced we're doing it on this day. We're opening registration, right? They have all intention to be able to move forward with this, but something between December and February caused this thing to collapse. Are you going to tell me the collapse was because Nintendo walked away? Is that the domino that like the whole thing fell apart? I don't know.
Possibly because, Sony hasn't been there in a few years, and Microsoft normally sets up camp next door, so they really didn't have show floor either. So yeah, I think Nintendo was that last straw, the last domino.
Yeah, right. I guess it's like, okay, it's not going to be a Nintendo show, so whose show is going to be? Not even some of the major parties are going to be there. So
yeah,
but great points, Justin. Thanks for breaking that all down there. Let's get into, we got a first game announced for the Jackbox, and then that's it. And then we'll get into our ad break. So the first game announced for Jackbox Party Pack 10 was TKO2.
I am so disappointed.
All right. Why are you disappointed?
I consider TKO to be probably the worst of its games in ever. I know there are people who like it. I don't.
Maybe they'll make it better.
I don't like, in general, I don't like the drawing games, but TKO normally just devolves into drawing penises.
Okay. Fair enough. Justin, anything about the party pack?
No.
Mecca reminds me that I did say I have no creativity. So sure, yeah, that goes with it.
Everybody in the Discord was saying basically they're kind of bored now of the Jackbox stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like one of those things of like, oh, this monetized really well, or this went really well. We monetized. It was like that popular moment. So let's double down on that. And you're like, okay, you've ridden this horse to the ground. All right, like we're done here.
Yeah.
I think that's the challenge.
Yeah, it sucks. And we do have a game release, thanks to Justin, put it in there. Wildfrost.
Yes.
There's a demo out for it, and the game releases April 12th. That is a card battle game, isn't it?
Yes. And
I've heard about this.
If you take a look at the screenshot, you're like, oh, I remember seeing that game. we all watched this indie direct or something together, and we were all super hyped for this game.
Yes.
The demo's out now. I've been playing the demo. I want to get a let's play up on our channel, maybe later tonight or tomorrow.
Nice.
Freaking, I was
I
so
better
excited
go grab that
when I saw
screenshot
this.
then for a thumbnail.
Yeah, I've been playing it and I love it, and I just want it to be out now so I can play more of it.
Nice.
It's fantastic.
I am going to download the demo because I've been playing another card battle game that I'll talk about later. So, but yep, I just sent it to my Switch. Cool. And I do remember it now looking at that. All right. Yeah. Let me grab that image and make a thumbnail later.
Not Nintendo, but it was announced today that Live Alive is coming to PlayStation, and the demo for that is out now as well. I don't know the release date. I didn't pay attention to that because I wasn't interested, but it's there. If you're interested, you can find it.
Gotcha.
Yes. All right. That's it for the news, where we spent a good amount of time on. So it was a good news week. Let's move on to the ad break.
Hey, folks. Support of Nintendo Dads is brought to us by Conzer and Manscaped. And of course, if you don't like our ad breaks, I encourage you to head over to patreon.com, where for as little as $1 a month, you get all of our episodes completely ad-free. But you haven't done that, so here's a word from our sponsors. Ladies and gentlemen, today, Conzer is definitely one of our sponsors. Now, Conzers, fellas, listen, have you ever wished you were maybe just a little bit taller? I know that I have. Maybe you matched up on Tinder, but her profile said, hey, you must be at least 6 feet. Maybe your date wants to wear heels, but she can't because they'll make her a little bit taller than you. Well, we have got the answer because the short kings are covered in today's sponsor, Conzer. Conzer makes shoes that make you up to 2.8 inches taller without anyone actually knowing it. Girls get heels, makeup, and push-up bras. Why can't men get a little boost of confidence too? Hey, we're all the same height lying down, if you know what I mean. Yeah, you know what I mean. You get it. I'll explain that to you later in the chat for those of you who don't get it. Now, for a limited time, our listeners, and of course that's you, can get an additional 15% off your order with the promo code NINDADS, NINDADS, at Conzer.com. Now, the site is already 30% off. So with your code, 30 plus 15, ladies and gentlemen, that's right, 45% off your entire order. Support our show and check them out over at Conzer. That's CONZURI.com, and use the promo code NINDADS, NINDADS. Now, I've been wearing some Conzer shoes. They sent them to me. I got these like slick gym shoes, got a little bit of lift in it. I'm going to tell you what happened. I went and played squash recently, put these shoes on. I won 3 out of 4 of my games. Is it because Conzer, I was wearing the Conzer shoes? Legally, I can't tell you yes. Is it possible? I don't know, maybe, but I'm going to tell you, I was feeling confident, right? Because that 2.8 inch lift, man, I was feeling confident. I was feeling ready, and my feet were feeling comfortable. And I was just running around the court, smashing all day, you know? Yeah. So go check out Conzer.com. Now, of course, our other sponsor being Manscaped. Of course, you know that I have this rich, thick, sexy beard of mine. Well, ladies and gentlemen, spring has sprung, and our friends over at Manscaped have the best tools for some spring cleaning. They've already helped you tidy up the nooks and crannies on your body's basement, but this year, Manscaped can help you get the perfect presentation on that beautiful face with the new Beard Hedge Pro Kit. Make sure you look your absolute best this spring by using the code NINDADS, NINDADS. Say it with me, NINDADS, for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Big thanks to Manscaped for their continued support, and big thanks to Conzer for being this month's sponsor. Back to you, gentlemen.
So the weird part about that is as soon as you started with the ads, we got spam in the Twitch chat. So people are like, what's going on? Yeah, I already hammered them.
Oh, wow. Okay, there you go. Fair enough.
Yay, spam.
Yeah. Yay,
spam.
Yeah. I like this question here. Oh, I love this. I love it. Can I just stop for a second? I know I'm a hot mess today for the show. But that's why you're here for this energy, all right? You know that. And again, P.S. folks, you don't like our ads? Head over to patreon.com. $1 a month. You don't get any ads. We give you literally an episode with no ads on it. All right. We got bills to pay here. Lights and mics got to keep going. All right. So simmer down. You don't like it, head over there. Chris HL asks, hey, is Bruce going to be sponsoring Nintendo Dads because of the Triforces? And no, Bruce isn't, but we support Bruce. We sponsor Bruce. So yeah, that's right. Our amazing friend Bruce, who makes these amazing Triforces, you can find that information on our Twitter page as well. Yeah, we support and sponsor him. We want him to do well. All right. So yeah.
That is truly an event. Yeah, Jesse was just holding it up on screen. So if you're watching us on YouTube, he was holding his up. Mine is up there on the shelf behind me where the belt used to be. That's how good that is. The belt used to be there, but I put the Triforce there instead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see my belt is still behind your head.
It's moved. There, right? It's moved because
there.
It's on its way out.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be on its way out soon. So
I like how Ninfrendo also said he's like, I come here for the mess. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's a hot mess today.
So, but yes, that is why those switch places, because it deserves. That's my new. That's. I gotta have something to replace the belts, and since Justin stole it, won it. Yeah,
that's exactly. That's what Bruce. Part of our Secret Santa project or our Christmas giveaway. Bruce was my Secret Santa, and Bruce made me one of those.
Yeah, so I know. That's freaking awesome.
I have that sitting in my Nintendo room. It is a display piece, which you never get to see on camera here, but it's in the other living room here. So.
Yes, it is awesome. You can buy your own now. Come.
And if you don't know how to do that, you don't know how to follow Bruce, you don't know where Bruce is.
He's in the Discord.
He's in the Discord. Just send us a message. Just DM the Nintendo Dads or send me an email at nintendodads@gmail.com. Be like, who's Bruce? How do I get a Triforce? I will connect you. All right. We will make relationships and connections happen to get one of these amazing Triforces that Bruce uses. And if you use the promo code NINDADS at checkout for Bruce, it doesn't do jack. But I just want to let you know that. Okay.
All right. Another event we got going on is our Discord community events. The Table, every second Wednesday of the month at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, and every third Friday of the month at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. The community gets together at the table, otherwise known as a Discord voice chat room, to discuss whatever is on everyone's mind, such as what's been going on in Disney Plus shows, what's been going on in the movies, what's going on in E3, whatever we decide we want to talk about, whatever.
Absolutely nothing, apparently.
It's what the community wants to talk about. So come join in. Again, if you want to join, email us at nintendodads@gmail.com or DM us on social medias to learn more. The same places you need to hit us up if you have questions about what Bruce wants to sell you for those Triforces. So that's right. We also have the monthly mayhem going on. It is going to be ending soon. It ends April 9th. It is for Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. That, again, is another Discord community event. So you have to be in our community to do these things.
How could they get part of that Discord? Because it sounds like we're promoting it. It sounds like it's an amazing place to be.
Yes. You got to be a Patreon.
Or how else could you get in there?
Or you subscribe on Twitch.
2 ways, simple enough to enter our Discord.
Correct. And then we also have the movie coming up, the Super Mario movie.
Super Mario.
And we have a campaign going with our friend Mike from the Gamerheads podcast, where if you use, if you're in Twitter, use hashtag #OneLastPass. And that is for bringing your 3DS to the movie to get one last street pass on your 3DS. So I'm hoping to see a bunch of those little lights glowing in the movie theater saying that you got a street pass.
And if you're doing that, like take a photo like before the show and tag us, right? Yes. Be like last street pass, and like we'll retweet and
one last pass
stuff. Yeah, one last pass, right? Like
I've got mine charged up here. I've been looking at it and goofing around on it a little bit. So just getting ready to see, getting used to the old street pass. Man, every time I look at it, though, I wish it would be on the Switch, too. So maybe it'll be on that dual Switch, when we get that. The Switch 2, dual Switch 2, DS 2.
Like that.
I don't know, whatever.
Better not.
All right. Enough of that. Enough of the event. So let's move on to Jesse's PokéMinute, which we haven't had in a while.
Pika, Pikachu.
I hate you all.
So on April 6th at 11 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, there will be changes to how remote raid passes will work. The prices for remote raid passes will increase. One will sell for 195 coins, up from 100, so almost double. And 3 will sell for 525, up from 300. Trainers will be limited to 5 remote raids per day. Remote raid passes will be included as rewards for research breakthroughs, but will still maintain an inventory limit of 3. Trainers who would normally receive a remote raid pass but already has at least 3 in their inventory will receive a premium raid pass instead. And trainers who participate in 5-star raids in person will receive bonus Candy XL. So I've said before that I don't like how they're trying to kill the remote raids. And they're trying to put in another nail in that coffin, but this remote raids is turned into the Pandora's box, the thing that won't die. They want to shut that box again, but if they do, there's going to be an uproar. There's already an uproar about this change. I'm not happy with it. Other people aren't happy with it. Basically, doubling the price of remote raid passes and limiting its use. So, not that I go do raids much anyway. But when I do, I normally will do like 6 or not, to 10 of them in a shot, just as XP grinding. But now, okay, they've taken that away. So yeah, I'm not a fan, and just local gatherings hasn't started like they did back in 2019.
Well, sometime
kind of killed it.
Sometime I think we're going to have to hear what Robo Jesse feels about all this too. I think that would be interesting to hear sometime in the maybe the next couple episodes. We'll see.
I fully agree with him.
All right. Well, he's listening. That's great. Thanks, Robo Jesse. All right. That it, Jesse?
Yeah, I just wanted to, yes, it's news, but I kind of wanted it to have like a rant segment of my own.
It makes sense. We got a lot of rants going on.
Justin had the first 45 minutes. I'll take 3.
All right.
That's at least too many.
I don't have any rants going yet, so I'll have to think of something. All right, let's move on to what we've been playing.
Do it.
Justin, you're our guest on the show. I mean, you came back, so no. Go ahead and go first there.
Because we now have notes that say we have to do it quickly, I'm going to tell you the 3 games I've been playing. First one I've been playing is Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon. Continuing to love that game. Such a cool art style. Having a ton of fun with it. I've talked about before, the just fantastic. I love the water art style, water paint art style. Talked about the voiceover. Having a great time. Loving it. Next game I'm playing is Have a Nice Death, which came out last week or 2 weeks ago as well. Roguelike game where you are collecting souls. It very much kind of like reminds me of Hades, except it's a platformer. It's got some Hades meets a little bit of Dead Cells meets this kind of like satirical black and white comedy vibe. And it's in a business which has my interest already, and the business is death. And it's funny, and there's like HR, and there's accounting, and there's security guys, and it's just really well written, and I'm loving every moment of it. I will say there are definitely some graphical hitches that I have seen with it in stuttering. And so I'm really hoping they're gonna put a performance patch for the Switch. It isn't like game breaking. You actually see it most when you're loading between floors, because what he does, and I love this, he gets in an elevator to go to the next floor, and then it's just music that plays, and it's like that like elevator music that's playing, and you can just see like he's there, but then like the lights passing through by him, so it looks like it's going through floors, but you can actually see it like slowing and hitching, and I'm like, it looks so good, but I know what you want to do, but the hitching is just pulling you out of it. And I've had a couple like stutters in the game where there isn't a ton. I shouldn't say there isn't a ton. 4 or 5 enemies, your character moves fast, lots of dynamics, lots of like cool weapons that you're using, so the screen, there's specials that you're going off, so there can be a lot going on the screen. So I think sometimes that also like pushes it a little bit further than it needs to. I'm really hoping that they put out an optimization patch for it, but I will say I'm loving Have a Nice Death. Absolutely loving it. It's great. Check it out. The other game, which we kind of talked about already, Wildfrost, demo is out now. It is a card-based, I don't know what the heck you call it. The art style very much is similar to Grindstone. It's done by Chucklefish, is a publisher, and I can't remember who the developer is, and I apologize for that. I love this game already. It's a deck building card based game, and it's so much fun. The art style is cute. It's cartoony. I love everything about this.
Nice.
This is a day one for me, even just playing the demo. It definitely has some Inscription elements in regards to that deck building that you're having, but not to the weird creepiness that is Inscription.
That's too
right.
bad.
So this is super cool. I would highly recommend trying the Wildfrost demo. I'm not a huge card person, but I'm getting more and more into this. This game has been on my radar for like 6 or 7 months. Man, I'm hyped. So excited. So in April, it's Wildfrost, Advanced Wars, and then Mage Seeker are my 3 big games I'm looking forward to. And they're all coming out in about like a week of each other. So that is absolutely fantastic for my wallet as well. But those are my 3. Love them all. I've got Let's Plays on all of them except for Wildfrost. I'm going to try and get that one out later today.
I got the thumbnail ready for it.
Did you really already?
Yes.
Good man.
While you were doing your ad read, I got that ready.
Okay.
All right. So sorry, Jesse. I thought you were spelling it out there and it looked like it was 2 words, but it's not. So
It is 1 word.
It is 1 word. All right. Go ahead, Jesse. What have you been playing?
Okay, I tried playing Side Pocket, the new game on Super Nintendo NSO Plus. You don't need expansion pack for that. But I remember playing these games when I was a kid, and I was good at it. I don't think I ever played the Super Nintendo version, though. I played the NES one. But I couldn't get past the second table on this one. I don't know. I tried like 6 or 7 times. And the thing that bothered me
you're not gonna shark me on that. No, you're not gonna be pool shark for me on that. You're probably really good at it. You're not gonna get me.
The thing that kind of got me more upset is when you do a game over, it doesn't just throw you back into the main menu, so you let you start the game right away. It's like it does a soft reboot, and even you get the Data East logo and the guy saying Data East.
So it's like kicking you out of the bar. You're like, you lost, you suck, you got to get out. You're out. You get kicked out. You get bounced out of the bar.
And like I can take 2 or 3 turns in the time it takes for me to load a new game. So it's just so. It
sounds so about slow. Right. You get bounced out of the bar. You get a little hurt. You got to pick yourself up, brush yourself off, and try to talk your way back in.
And I don't know if the NES version is different, but with this version, this doesn't seem to be enough angles of precision that I wanted to get this one shot, but this is too short, and the next line up is too far. There's nothing in the middle, so it makes some shots kind of impossible to hit.
And Friendo said it was before blast processing. That's why.
Oh, maybe. Okay, and then I played my half hour of it or so probably not going to touch that one again. And then I played the start of Atelier Ryza 3, Alchemist of the End of the Secret Key. I did this on PlayStation 5 because I was able to rent the disc from GameFly. And I haven't played an Atelier game since the PS3 era, so I definitely have not played either of the first 2 games. It does have an option in the main menu to play which I bought an 8-minute movie that kind of summarizes the plot of the first 2 games, so you're not playing completely dry. But it's got the combat is a turn-based battle system, but I don't fully understand what it's doing. It wants me to be like pretty proactive in what I'm doing, but I'm kind of confused on it. And then when it comes to the alchemy part, making items out of other items, again, this is the same thing. Like I have no idea really what it's doing. It might have explained better in the previous games, or I don't know. But yeah, this game just didn't connect with me. Probably not going to go back to it, but I gave it a try.
Oh, that sucks. All right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, but I remember the combat being and the alchemy being a little bit more simpler back when it was PS3. They they had this is probably what 10 games in the future, so they've had a lot of iteration.
Right. Interesting.
Because they put out an Atelier game almost once a year. So
Do you think it's something that maybe you're just not in the right mindset for it this time around, and maybe try it again somewhere down the road?
that's possible. But
Okay.
yeah, since this is a disc rental, I'm probably going to still return it. And if I do
Right.
choose to try it again, I'll either rent it again or I'll pick it up on a system.
Gotcha. All right, cool. For me, I've been playing a couple games right now. I'm going to mention actually all these games I have done a video on one way or another. So Gripper is the first one. That one just launched today, or at least yesterday. It is a how do I put this? This is like a cyberpunk type game, racing, uh, gripping game where you got to use a grapple hook to do certain actions that I learned along the way, and it is a tough game. Like if you watch the video, you probably see me nearly rage quit the game. So
Welcome to my world.
right. So because it was like, well, first of all, I was playing the video through OBS, or the game through OBS, right? So we all know there's a slight delay when trying to play a game through OBS. At least there is for me. So that slight delay was causing me issues because you have to there's a time, like I said, there's a timing thing with the grapple hook where you just like a rhythm game almost, where you got the circle coming down to when you have to time it right and then hit the button. It does that. You hit the button, and I wasn't timing it right with watching it through OBS. So I was like, during the video, you could see me like, okay, hold on. I had to switch it over to my other monitor so I could have it in real time and then get the timing down. So I got that down. But the racing part, there's a lot of fast things that it was just like, apparently I was not in the right mindset to concentrate on avoiding these pillars and obstacles that are coming out in this tube that you are racing on your motorcycle through. So, and the object of it is to get through these things with your motorcycle through this tube that come out, and it can be disorienting. So beware if you watch that video that there's some times where I'm spinning around and stuff like that. So, but you have to get the timing down. You have to be quick, and just, I don't think my reflexes are as quick as they used to be anymore. So, but I was able to get through there. And then there was another part of the game where you do a boss battle, where you have to rip off like the six-legged robot's legs off, but still have to throw like these empty gas cans or partially empty gas cans at to blow it up and damage it and try to take it down. I've came close several times, and that's where several times I came close to rage quitting. So, but it gave an idea of what the gameplay was, and I forget who said it. Sparky from our Discord watched the video and made a comment saying that this game looks hard. It is one of those games that for me, if I'm going to do good at it, I can't be doing a video for it too. I have to be sitting there only concentrating on that and not worrying about talking to an audience or a video about what I'm playing, if that makes sense. It's like, just gotta really, it's gotta be one of those times where I'm like focused. So, and had maybe some glitch and energy drink or something for focus. But yeah, that video is out there. You can watch that, watch some bits and pieces of that, me playing that game. I also did a video. The Gripper one was a first look. Pirates, Outlaws. I did a video of Let's Play of that because we actually got a review code for that at the beginning of the month, and it came out at the end of the month. So I had some time to play it. And it's also a card battle game, kind of similar to Slay the Spire, where you have to get through a Pirate Bay type thing with islands you are going through that have enemies on it, and you're using your cards to get through them. I found this game to be really fun. again, another card battler where you're using cards to get through the enemies, and you got to put together a system with those cards to make it through to the boss. And then you got 3 layers to get through to get points that help you unlock other parts of the game that you can play. So I go into more detail in the video there, so please go check that out. Pirates Outlaws for the Nintendo Switch, another card battle game that I've been really enjoying, and I think some other people have been really enjoying as well. So go check that out. And then finally, some more Fire Emblem Engage. Just finished chapter 22 going into 23, which means I think, if I remember right, there's 3 more chapters left. So I'm getting to the end, and I can't wait. And there's been so much going on since I passed level, since I got to chapter 20. Like, there's chapter 20, just like, I don't want to give anything away. It's just other than, wow. It's like, to the story, things way earlier get flipped on its head in the story, and then there's more flipping and craziness going on, and just after chapter 20 and on, it seems like every chapter going forward was just like, okay, this is cool, this is cool, this is cool, and I'm not even done yet. So being this far into it, knowing that I'm getting towards the end game, this will be on my game of the year talks towards the end of the year. Tears of the Kingdom will probably take that slot, but we'll never know. Something, we'll see. But this is at that level for me, where it is in the game of the year talks for me, at least on the list for me. So highly recommend it. Again, there is a video of me doing a divine prologue, my first attempt at that. I haven't been able to do any more videos on it, but maybe I'll do another one towards the end. Hopefully it won't give away too much, but we'll see. Because I still have some regular paralogs to do that came in the game, not the DLC divine paralogs. So I could do either one. I could do another divine paralog, or I can do some of the non-story ones that won't prevent. I think I want to do another let's play of it at least, so to kind of show where I'm at, what's going on with my characters and stuff like that. So keep an eye out for that, I'll say. That's what I've been playing. Let's move on to the community spotlight.
Wait, well, before we do, I thought of one more game that I want you to talk about.
Nope, not allowed. Time's out. Community spotlight. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, the game came out today called Papertris. So with a name like that, you'd expect it to be a Tetris, but with the visual effects looking like a paper drawing stuff. Yes, it had the paper drawing stuff, but it's not really Tetris. It's more like columns. If you know that game from the Sega, where each piece that falls is a 3x1 grid of color that you're able to rotate the colors one way or the other and move the piece left and right, but you cannot rotate it. It's so the pieces are always fall vertical, and then you have to match. They don't have to be in a row. They have to be 4 or more, or 3 or more connecting, so you can mix. And then they'll vanish and drop, and you can build combos that way. We got a review code for that. I put out a video this morning about it. It's kind of a short video because I really didn't get it because I've never liked columns in the first place, so it's not really a fault of this version of the game. It's just the base game it was based off of. I wasn't a fan of, and so in the video I say it's a $5 game. So yeah, pretty cheap anyway if you want to give it a try. But it's discounted to $4 for the next week in case you want to give it a shot for yourself.
Nice. All right, thanks, Jesse.
Yep.
Community spotlight. All right, as always, we go over some of the questions that were presented to us from the community. And actually, we got one the very beginning, right when we were starting the show. We got one that popped up in the chat from G Acres on the YouTube side, where he asked, "Will Yoshi speak in the Mario movie?" What do you guys think? Is there a Yoshi in there, and will he speak? Or will it speak? You're on mute, Justin.
Didn't we see like a field of Yoshis at one point, like running? I thought we saw that. Am I wrong? Or am I thinking that's Jurassic Park and I'm just putting the two things together? I don't know.
No, well, that was
maybe
a
they do something
Yoshi's
that'd be kinda
Island like scene. That
I really
So, I
hope
don't
like we
know.
see the Yoshi's running, all of a sudden we hears
Right. There's going to be some sort of Easter egg there, right?
no. Here's what it is. It's Mario doing the hands stay
Oh yeah,
stay
like
stay
stay,
scene
stay,
with
Yoshi.
four Yoshis
Yeah.
because Chris Pratt did that in Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
And Jurassic Park
I
is a
don't-
Universal movie.
Yeah, I don't think if Yoshi does speak, it's the Yoshi or the like that like ooh sound he has when he has his tongue come out.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
curious about the post-credit scene, which has been confirmed.
Oh, there is. You got to
There's
confirm.
confirmation of a post-credit scene. Man, I would love like I see. Here's what I think it's gonna be either like some tie into like a Donkey Kong movie, I think, because Donkey Kong's pretty heavily. So I think that's like a pretty easy low hanging fruit. Don't mind the bananas. But I would love if like if there's like this, you know, the sound is somehow like, you know, Mario's walking away and then you hear this like kind of crack or a thunder sound or whatever or something, and then like turns around and there's just like this weird silhouette, and then all you see is the Triforce coming up, and it just like holds there and then it just like stops, right? I would love this idea that like could Nintendo be creating a Avengers Smash Brothers Endgame moment where there are somehow other Nintendo franchise movies that are finally on its way that become crossover events, and all of a sudden like Link is having to like I'm collecting like the best heroes and you're, you know, I don't know, that'd be amazing.
Does it end with Crazy Hand snapping its finger?
Yeah.
That's crazy talk, sir.
It won't be anything like that. It'll just be like some like throwaway scene, probably, right? That like some Goomba got stuck in a POW block, and then all of a sudden just walks through the screen, and like Mario has to take his hat off or the thing off him or something. So
yeah. All right. Great question, G Acres. Thanks for posting that earlier in the chat. Speaking of chat, while we're in that pocket there, let me just shout out to all the people who've come in through here, like Brody, Gamer Knight, Chris HL94, Mecha Dragon, Ebicel, Mikey Dreamer. We had a lot of people coming through. Koopa Kid 80, Ninfrendo, who's a lot of these people are usually always popping through. So thank you, Miz. Yeah. Thank you.
I don't know if you saw, Mecca is really asking if we're going to ask his question about what he sent in. So let's move straight to that question.
All right. Well, shout out to Elliot too. So I just saw that name too. So, all right. So Mecca asks, so in honor of Nintendo Dad's 420th episode, let's hear each of your dad's favorite Snoop Dogg song.
Yeah, I replied to the Discord with a vomit emoji.
Okay. So first, I mean, my main dog Snoop laying down some sick tracks and beats with Martha Stewart is my first primary way to sip some of his amazing sweet tracks. I think that is a sweet collab, and I'm all about it. But if I was talking about what songs get me up with the Doggy Dog Pound of Snoop Dogg, I would have to say Snoopy Dog. I would have to, of course, you have to be calling out the Drop It Like It's Hot, of course, from Snoop Dogg. Gin and Juice is an absolute classic. And the What About Dre and his kind of cameo appearances in that, I think, are also pretty freaking amazing. So those are some of my favorite Snoop Dogg songs and collaborations, but mainly the work he does with Martha Stewart, I think, is just, you know, chef's kiss.
Fair. That's fair. That's a good one.
You definitely had a more elaborate answer than I was expecting.
You didn't think that was happening. Also, can we also admit that his appearance at the Super Bowl a year ago with Dr. Dre and Mary J. Blige and Eminem was amazing?
Yes, of course, because I mean, Eminem was there repping Detroit, so course, that was amazing. So my favorite Snoop Dogg songs come off of the Murder Was the Case album that he did. And because first off, the title track, Murder Was the Case, on one of my all-time favorite songs coming from Snoop Dogg. And also another song on there that's pretty crazy is Natural Born Killers. So that's another one of my favorites there. And there was another one he did, I can't remember the name of. I think that came off of his original album that trying to find what that is, but it's kind of similar to another song from the 80s that he was paying homage to. So yeah, it's another song too that I can't think of the name of, but it was one I didn't have. I can't think of the name of.
Of course, nothing is as good as Maestro Fresh West's Let Your Backbone Slide, as a friendly reminder to all of those of you who have been with the Nintendo Dad lore long enough to recognize that Let Your Backbone Slide is probably...
I still don't recognize it. And
well, again, Canadian pop culture classic, and I know our friends in the chat here, like Chris and Bruce, understand exactly what I'm talking about. And that's really all that matters.
Right. All right. So... wait a minute. I just thought Tim would have given me the dad talk if I asked.
So
that's funny.
So Mecca is asking about our recreational participation in.
Yeah, Chris was asking if that topic can be brought up.
Can we talk about marijuana on this show, or is that too family?
Like here's the honesty of it. Like I will say the following things: Canada is a country that has legalized marijuana, right? So we are a country that. In my 5-kilometer radius from where I live, there are like 4 different cannabis shops that we can go to that are the same accessibility as alcohol, right? So I will say that I'm not an individual who partakes. Never interested me. I don't like that kind of stuff, so I just don't. That doesn't mean that I judge others who do. Completely your own choice, but just not something that floats my fancy.
Yeah, I don't smoke it either because I stopped smoking a long time ago, and I'd probably choke on it now. It's because I don't smoke anymore. But I've had an edible or two, so I've done that.
Yeah. So there you go.
And it is legal here in Michigan too. So
okay, yeah, it's become much more legalized and much more normalized. I know that Canada was only the second country to ever legalize it across. Entire country. I know that for the US it's very much based on state regulations, right? As opposed to being a federal law. So
I look at marijuana like this. It's the same level as alcohol, where we tell everybody, regardless of your age, obviously you have to be of age to be able to partake in those things. So and be safe with it, So, but we're not your parents. You have your own parents. If you're a kid listening, they will teach you the proper ways of understanding those things. So we just like we teach our kids and don't expect any other parent to teach our kids. So it's it's exactly. I will say, I see some chat here in the chat asking. I will say that I had a bad incident with it when I was visiting Amsterdam, and that was enough to say nope. Nope. There are those things too. Yes. So
right, and so. Yeah,
and for me, my dad said he did enough to where he made me promise not to do anything like that. So I made a promise and didn't want to break that either. So, but yes, I've had an edible or two, like I said. So, and that's, again, I am 47 years old. So
make your choices, right, folks? You make your choices. So if any parents are listening, is like, listen, these are genuine conversations that adults have about choices, right? In the same way we talk about like regular smoking or drinking, right? These are all choices. I know, like Jesse, you don't partake in booze, if memory serves, right? That is not something that that interests you.
More because I never found any that I liked until I found that, hey, I like sake.
You like sake?
So, if I go to a hibachi restaurant or a sushi place, if I'm not driving or if I know I'll be there for a while, I'll get a 4-ounce sake and share it if anyone is with me who wants it. Normally they don't because no one else likes it in my family, and that's fine. My wife drinks wine all the time in restaurants, and I don't take it because I don't like it.
Yeah, and like for me, like I'm a person who'd much rather like go to a pub and have a pint, right? Like that's kind of my I'll have like a beer or two kind of thing. That's it. Like, you know, when we're in New York, Tim and you and I went and grabbed some beers, and
Mhm.
that's just kind of the, like I'm not a heavy drinker or any of that kind of stuff, right? I
Right.
spent my early 20s playing rugby and drank a fair bit there, but as a 40-plus-year-old man, I'm
Yep.
happy with I just love sitting down with a pint and having a conversation with somebody. So getting stupid does
Right.
not do anything for me. Funny thing about sake, Jesse, and this is sort of connected why I can't drink sake, is I went on a rugby trip where I first started playing, and it was kind of like an initiation and hazing, right? And so it was one of the new guys, and so we'd stop off at a liquor store and end up getting like a bottle of booze was just randomly selected, and that was duct taped to your hand, and that bottle of booze had to be empty by the time you got off that bus, and I was assigned sake. And
No, sake is not something you can drink a fifth of.
correct. So like so it
Is,
was like you would drink and then you'd also like have to share with everybody else. But like by the end of it, like I just stunk of sake, and I was like, I do not like this at all.
yeah, you drink 2 or 3 ounces, and then that's where
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
That's
Good glass
funny.
of whiskey as well. Absolutely. I'm a big fan of Irish whiskey.
Yep. And also too, we're not stupid parents because we all have been kids at some point, older teenagers, early 20s before you're 21, or depending, well, in Canada it's 19. So
18, depending on the province.
true.
18 where I
So
am.
because I mean, for me in Michigan, when I turned 19, yes, I could not drink until I was 21 here in Michigan, but all I had to do was go whoop over the bridge into Canada and I could have some drinks. So as parents, I know not to be stupid. And just like my dad told me, and my parents told me, even then, they were like, look, we were young, we were stupid, we did stupid things. Just don't be stupid and drive, when it came to drinking.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to try this or that and you are impaired, call me if you need a ride. So that's what I tell my kids. Look, I know there's probably going to be a time when you're going to try something. Call me. I'm not going to be mad. I did the same thing. Don't need to hide it. Just, I don't want you to die, or do something stupid. So just call me up and I'll come pick you up and your friends up.
With my group of friends, like 9 times out of 10, I'm the DD, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, yeah, hey, listen, if you like, so I'm not judging, right? If you want to
Right.
go out and get crazy, I'm happy to join you on that journey, but just know that I'm not going to drink. I'll probably have a Coke, maybe I'll have a pint at the beginning of the night.
Yes.
And that's it, right? But
we always determine that at the beginning of the night too with our friends.
Sure, like you get home safe. So I'm happy to be that person to enable that safety.
Yeah, there's been times when my wife went out with her girlfriends and I had to pick her up and take her home, leaving her car there, and then come back the next morning for her to get her car.
So if there's any lessons that you're hearing from us, is maybe parents are driving with their kids right now in the van, they're like in their vans, are like, oh my gosh, I don't want this conversation to occur from Nintendo dads. Here's the thing you need to hear from us: be responsible, do not drink and drive, call your parents when you're not feeling well because they are there to help you. All right, take care of each other and be smart. Right.
And on the drug side, don't try anything you don't know anything about.
Yes.
If you don't know about it, don't try it.
Yeah.
If you haven't learned about it and did your research.
If you're upset by this conversation, I want you to send all of your emails to Marty Estes at nintendodads@gmail.com.
Yeah.
I like Mecca saying, I love how the dads turn my silly question to a dad moment.
You're welcome.
Like those are honest conversations. Like my daughter is just about to turn 15. Right. And in Canada, so that, I mean, that was something that really we had to start having conversations about. It was because it was like, sorry, so why are all these shops popping up? Why does it, like, I walk past an area and that guy smells like a skunk, right? And like also these buildings that have popped up now, they have to be, in Canada at least, they have to be like you can't see into them, so it's like a glass that's not
right. Yes.
Right.
Like smoked glass
it's kind of like, so this is weird. So like my kids were like, so like, what are these things? I was like, okay, well, let's talk about that. Right. So that became a parenting moment of saying, like, this is what it is. And what, why it was legalized in Canada and what that meant, and why you hear more advertisements about marijuana, and why you hear more about like those conversations about safety and education about it, and kind of normalizing it that way. And so then it was that conversation about, it's kind of like a liquor store, right? Like
yes,
they're for adults and they make it so these things that are taboo, right? If we have, if we continue to have, if we don't have conversations around them, they can continue to be taboo, and creates more questions and creates fear as a child or as a teenager to ask questions. But if we remove the stigma or the taboo around it and have open, honest dialogues and conversations as parents, then when your kid calls you and is like, Dad, I'm high because I went to a party and someone passed me this thing and I tried it, I don't feel good, can you come help me? You've created trust. Yes, I'm disappointed that that's happened, right? We can talk about that later, but like, and I want to make sure you're safe. That's key priority number one. And then we're going to talk about it afterwards about like, why was that maybe not a good idea? And what could you do?
What did you learn from it?
What can you learn from it? And how, if you're going to do that, do we want to maybe make sure it's in a controlled environment? Like there's so many pieces around that as a parent. You can either turn away from something, or you can turn into it and face it head on and just grow in regards to that.
Yep. Speaking of this conversation, Jesse, do you think it'd be possible when we're done with this that you could put a front end message saying at the end of this, we'll have a pretty heavy topic? You think that's possible?
I'll try to come up with something, or maybe we can whip something up in the post show.
I can do something post show.
All right, post show. We'll talk about that.
Say something along the lines of, ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for Justin Masson's outbursts at Mecha Dragon. He knows what he did, and he should have smartened up. Now, on to the show.
Yes, there you go. All right. We spent a lot of time on that topic, but it was a very good topic. Thanks, Mecha. You didn't think it was going to go that way, but it did. All right.
Where do babies come from? Get out of here.
Koopa Kid 80. Koopa Kid 80 asks, what is your favorite movie candy, and what candy will you be eating while watching the Mario movie?
I normally don't get candy. What I normally do is I'll get like nachos and with cheese and have it consumed before the movie even starts.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, I feel that too.
And then I'll have either a tall water
Bingo.
or a 40-ounce soda and kind of sip through it throughout the movie.
That's
my go-to in Canada is usually something like Swedish berries or Sour Patch Kids and a soda. In Ireland, it was actually interesting. Do they have like bulk barns down there where you can like go and get like dishes, like 5-cent candies? They have those things.
Yes. Yeah. We have bulk.
In Ireland at the movie theater,
yes.
You could actually do that. So you just got a bag, and it was just like those little scoops of like candy from all these other places, and then you just paid by like it was a cup. Like you got a cup, and like it was like €2 for a cup, and it was literally fill as much candy as you want in there. So you're like, I want Swedish berries, I want gummy worms, I want that. So I'm more of a chewy candy kind of guy. So those things I like, and I usually like a root beer because nobody in my family likes root beer. And so if I have root beer,
nobody's going to drink it.
Nobody's going to drink it. And my wife was like, why didn't you get a Coke? And I'm like, because I want to drink my root beer.
So for me, it depends on my mood when I'm getting there, right? It could be nachos, like this guy said, and then, or, pretzel with, cheese or something in there, or popcorn, buttered popcorn, or the candy. It just depends on my mood. So it'll be a call when I get there.
Gentlemen in the Great White North at Cineplex Odeon, poutine. You can get poutine right there,
Nice.
Good thing of poutine and a hot dog if you want it.
I'll have to come there then.
Right? Yeah.
Get a good thing of
poutine.
All right. The other question.
My wife will normally get maybe like a Reese's Pieces or an M&M or something like that.
That's what my wife does too.
Munch on it, and then I'll take a handful or two.
You'll steal a few.
Do y'all do you get popcorn and then you get like a bag of M&Ms and you open up the M&Ms and you pour it in with the popcorn? Do you do this like crazy mix thing? Have you heard this?
I've heard of it. I haven't done it myself.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's like trail mix without the trail, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, kind of right. One of the funny things that let's ask another question about theater. Do you or have you brought your own candy into the theater before?
Yes.
We did when I was a kid, but I don't try to do that.
Yeah. We go to the dollar store or Five Below or even the gas station, and you can get the box of candy for much cheaper than you can in the movie theater.
Yeah.
But yeah,
In Canada, it's kind of frowned upon. Like it's like people do it, right, for
Yeah.
sure. But it's like, right, like you're kind of
Well,
like
nobody sees it. Yeah, we
right?
got it in our pockets or
Yeah.
or bags or whatever.
when I was living in Ireland, we went to the theater once, and so I mean it's kind of taboo for us as Canadians, right?
Mhm.
This lady comes in with like a fleet of kids and a backpack, and she literally like opens up the backpack, and
Just
I'm
starts
talking
handing
like,
out stuff.
oh, and there's like no like trying to hide it.
Right,
It's
right.
like full thing of soda, and
Oh,
she's
yeah,
pouring it into a cup and like handing out cups and like opening like it's not even like you're trying to match the candy
No.
that's in there. I mean,
Right.
you're like, you've gone somewhere completely different. And she's like, it is a whole picnic.
Oh, I've seen people come in with fast food. You know, they'll break out the bag of fast food like White Castle burgers or, you know, some Taco Bell.
Man,
I've seen that too. So
what a world we live in, you know? What a world.
I don't remember if we've done that before, but we've always snuck in like before they added Coke Zero to the menu at the movie theater, like the AMC we have here. I would bring in a bottle of Coke Zero there.
Yeah.
Which I actually might do again because the other theater we really like going to, they got rid of Diet Mountain Dew.
Sure. Yeah.
So the only choice I have for Diet is Diet Pepsi, and I'm not a fan of that, and water. So there's not very many sugarless choices, you know. So if I wanted to get a pop, so I might just have to.
I feel like bringing a bottle of water, that's fine. You know what I mean? Like my commentary there is sort of simple. I can literally go into your bathroom and it's free.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm okay bringing a bottle of water in.
Right. So yeah, we've done that before for sure. Episode says at least it's not Pepsi free. I would take Pepsi Zero over Diet Pepsi. Just I do not like the taste of Diet Pepsi. Speaking of Pepsi, have any of you guys tried the Peepsy?
Yes, and I was so disappointed in it.
I don't think we have that up in Canada.
I tried it and I was like, this is a sweeter Pepsi.
it just tastes like that awful yellow food coloring.
Yes. That is a good point. So, all right. So the other question, he had a two-parter question, Koopa Kid. He asked also, why are card games like Wildfrost and Pirates Outlaws so good? The demo is amazing for Wildfrost and can't wait to pick it up on April 12th. Justin agrees.
Yeah. I think the question is sort of this idea of like, why is there this like surgence of card games, right?
Yeah. Done right, for sure. It's
yeah. I also think like the accessibility and the portability of a game like the console like the Switch makes those type of games just so much easier to take and play in different ways.
Yeah.
Right. Doesn't require a hard internet connection, and it's it's kind of very passive.
You get to make a run, see how well you do on the run, with what you picked up. Yeah.
It reminds me of Grindstone also in that way. Like those kind of just like, again, it's not super complex, but also engaging.
Right.
So I don't know. And I don't know if maybe, and again, I mean, it can't be, what I highly doubt is someone's like, oh, the next big trend is card games, right? The fact that they both kind of came out in about a 2-week period just as happenstance due to publishing and development time and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. It's great though.
I agree. And again, I the other card battle game that I played before was the
Slay the Spire?
Well, not Slay the Spire, the other one, the Fairy Tales or the something Tales. The other one I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, the one I didn't like.
Yeah, that was also a card battler, but it had more of a story.
Quest I liked, and there was another
yes.
One from, I think was it Game Freak that made it? I liked that one, but no one else did.
Pocket Jockey?
No. It was
that
on
was
Switch.
More of a solitaire type thing, right? Is that still considered a battle?
It was a card RPG on Switch. I just don't remember.
Oh,
it was like
one that,
it was like
there was one that
it was like
also
it was like 2 years ago.
Okay, I was gonna say, wasn't there also the one that like came out recently as a shadow drop and it was a card game? I liked it, and then I stopped playing it. That sounds about right.
And someone mentioned Marvel Snap too. That's a card battler you can play.
Floppy Knights.
Oh yeah, I didn't like that one.
That's a card-based game.
Yeah, it was more of a card-based strategic game. So
yeah, SteamWorld Quest. Yeah, Hand of Galgamech or whatever the heck it was called.
Yeah. Mecca says Tim will play every card game on the Switch except for Master Duel.
Oh, snap.
Yep, I'll accept that. Anyways, moving on. No, I just never got around to playing it. Just everything else. But the ultimate card battle game is Inscription.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you like card battle games, go play that and get mine, whatever you want to call it there. All right. Chris HL94 asked, just because I haven't asked in a while, I have a question for the podcast. How great is NHL 94? Isn't it the best sports game of all time? Wouldn't you guys love to play NHL 94 Rewind on the Nintendo Switch? Yes, we would, Chris. Thanks everybody for your questions. And no,
I also appreciate Chris's promoting of that game that was at PAX East of an NHL game or whatever it was as well. That
one has the means to get to the Switch, and it just the developer said he just needs Nintendo support on it, and he'd get it over there.
Little Town Hero was a game I was trying to think of.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yes. It was Game Freak but no one else liked it.
Yes. And so in regards to NHL 94, now that we've got NSO and the possibility of potentially a third-party game coming to NSO, it would be nice if EA allowed those older sports games to come on NSO. I would even pay an extra tier for that. If we could get like classic EA sports games to come to NSO, I would pay an extra $5 for that. EA, I hope you're listening. I would do it. And I'm sure there's other sports fans who would play those classic ones that probably used to play sports games on Nintendo systems. Maybe not playing the newer ones anymore, and maybe they are. But maybe they have a Switch. I think there is a fan base out there that would play the classic EA sports games. And that's what boggles our minds, is that I think there's a large enough base there that would pay for that. And EA could make easy money off of. But anyways, that is a topic we've beaten to death. So with that is the end of our questions, and that is the end of the community spotlight. Gentlemen, do you have anything else before we close out the show?
Thanks for having me. I hope my fire, energy, and anger, although directed at individuals in the chat, just know that I love you all and support you, and I appreciate you being here. And I know it was a bit fiery, but you got to come with the spice every once in a while. You know what I'm saying? And it just becomes a little bit more entertaining. So thanks for being here. Some great questions. I really appreciate everyone showing up in the chat here too and just being involved. And man, great, best community.
And if you have a rebuttal for any of Justin's rants, record a video, send it to us. And if it's a good enough rebuttal, maybe we can post it back and say, hey, we got some rebuttals here. And then we can have a big old debate.
Chris HL says we provoked you, Justin. Mecca says that I owe him a hug. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, fair enough.
All right. First, a huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Dave Ernsberger, to RJ Kern and Jacqueline Amira, as well as to our other 90 plus Patreons. Next, special thank you to our 16 Twitch subscribers and over 1,401 Twitch followers. And a shout out to our 6,707 YouTube subscribers. Yes, we made it over the 6,700 mark. Yay. Inching closer to that 10,000 mark at the end of the year. Thank you, everyone. Of course, we would not be here if it weren't for all of that participation there. So thank you very much. Check out our website, nintendodads.org, for the latest YouTube videos and tweets, links to all our social media, Patreon, and Extra Life pages, and Nintendo Dads merch. We also have Spotify podcast feeds on our show, as well as the other NINDADS family of podcasts like Game Pass News, where Nick and Sean go over the week's Xbox news and Game Pass releases, as well as a few of their favorite non-Xbox topics. Dads After Dark show, where John and Drew talk about video games, TV shows, sports, raising kids, wifey stories, and eye problems, and everyone's favorite Drew topic, animal care. And since it's an adults-only podcast, they're never afraid of some honest chat. Just ensure the kids aren't around while you're listening, okay? Especially when Justin's on the show, because you really don't want them to listen then. So, and then the Retro Logic family of podcasts, featuring Retro Logic with Dan, John, and Sam, covering all your retro gaming and retro gaming collecting topics. On Topic Retro with John and a guest doing an in-depth overview and analysis of a specific retro game. Like me and Eston, we guested on it, and we're talking about Metroid Prime. Retro Groove with Adam and Liam discussing music from all generations and types. And Film Logic with Mike and Eston, every now and then a guest talking about all things to watch. And don't forget to check out our sponsors like Manscaped.com, where you get 20% off your Manscaped order and free shipping with code NINDADS, or get an extra 15% off from Kanzuri with the code NINDADS at their website, www.kanzuri, that's conzuri.com/NINDADS, and you get a total of 45% off your order. So go check them out, and don't forget to use NINDADS. You can contact us in many places like Patreon, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube by typing NINDADS, or email us at nintendodads@gmail.com, or call in and leave a voicemail at 929-25-NINDADS, NDADS, or 929-256-3237. Jeez. Big thanks to OC Remix for the music throughout the show, and don't forget to download our podcast episodes on your favorite podcast choice. And if they have a review system, please leave a review, especially 5-star reviews. They help us out just as much as those Patreon subscriptions and Twitch subscriptions and YouTube subscriptions do. For me, for Justin, for Jesse, and Marty, who you can email all your complaints to, this is the Nintendo Dads. Good night.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
I hate you all.